Hello and welcome back to Lorfen Gaming Plays Ultima 3 Exodus. I'm your host Lorfen, and it's Ultima 3 Exodus new player video guide. I'm going to show you all on how to survive the world of Ultima 3 Exodus. As always, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Do not forget to hit notification bells to be updated and more. So there's enemies everywhere, chests everywhere. I don't know where I'm going. I'm about to die. Help, don't panic. Help is on the way. So let's go ahead and talk about first character creation. In Ultima 3, you do not play one character. No, instead you play a total of 4 characters. That's right, an entire party. It's just like Final Fantasy 1 and the other games you play today with a party of 4. There's so many options in this game for classes. Yeah, there are more than 4 classes. Just trust me. Also, they add an extra race and the stats are a little bit more simplified. So, you know what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go over the stats first, and here we go. Let's go over the stats, shall we? First of all, strength, how much damage a character can do. So more points in the strength, more damage you could do against a foe. Now, next up is dexterity. This is more points into that, more chances to hit a foe. You have that with high strength. Most likely you do a killing blow. This also avoids attack, so any foes try to attack you and you're high in dexterity, they're gonna miss. And one more thing that I feel like this is important also, if you accidentally trigger traps, you can avoid trap damage too. So yeah, dexterity is the most important. We'll get to that in a few moments. Now, wisdom affects magic points for cleric type of magic users. So more points in the wisdom, more magic points you have, so you get to cast cleric type of spells. Now, intelligence affects magic points for wizard type of magic users. So if you're casting wizard spell and you have high intelligence, you have more magic points on the ready. So you're asking, what are the stats in order that's important? Well, it depends on what character you create. So for example, if you make a barbarian, fighter, and thief, you want to get dexterity first, obviously maxed out, depending on your race, and then strength second, then leave the wisdom intelligence as lowest point. Now, for example, if you're a cleric or a hybrid caster, then yeah, for instance with clerics, if you're a pure type, you get wisdom first, then dexterity, then strength. As for the hybrid caster cleric types, you get is dexterity, strength, and then wisdom, and then leave intelligence alone. This goes the same for wizard type of classes. For example, if it's a pure wizard, you get intelligence, dexterity, then strength up there, and then leave wisdom alone. Now your hybrid wizard user, then you go dexterity, strength, and intelligence. Sounds a little bit confusing, but it is not. Just remember that dex is king in this game. So next up, we're going to go ahead and talk about is the classes of Ultima 3. There are a total of 11 classes in Ultima 3 Exodus. So first I'm going to go over the pure classes, what I do call. First of all is the fire class. They can use all weapons and armor, every single one of them. Now they cannot avoid and disarm traps, unfortunately, and they cannot use magic at all. So they're really good like frontline fighters. Now thief can use bow and leather. That's the max for now. I'm not going to talk about the in-game weapon. That's a thing I don't want to spoil at all. But still, they could use bow and arrow, which is good. Very best at disarming and avoiding traps. The thief is the absolute class you want if you're worried about traps in treasure chests or in dungeons. Unfortunately, thieves cannot use magic at all. Yeah, that's their downside. Next up is the cleric class. Can use chain and maces. That's max for now. Can cast all cleric magic. Cannot deal with traps that are not magical ways. Yeah, they could disarm a trap in a treasure chest via a spell. We'll get to that spell later on. One thing about clerics is they're a 1-to-1 ratio on wisdom and magic points. So for example, if you have 99 wisdom, then you have 99 magic points. Thanks for being a cleric. Now the wizard can use only cloth and daggers. Yeah, they got the lowest tier equipment, but that's alright. They cannot deal with traps at all, unfortunately. Nope, they cannot do that. Not even magical ways, unless you cast a certain spell. We'll get to that spell later on. Now, the thing about wizards, they could cast all wizard magic. And one more thing, wizards are intelligence and, of course, magic points in a 1-to-1 ratio. So, for example, you have 99 intelligence, That means you have 99 magic points. Thanks for being a wizard. So let's go ahead and talk about the hybrids next. I'm going to go ahead and go over the hybrids. The first one's the druid. It's a hybrid between a cleric and wizard. Can only use maces and cloth. Not able to disarm and void traps at all, so don't put them in the front of the party to do that. Now you could also disarm traps via magic on treasure chests. We'll get to that spell later on. MP is at 50% max for intelligence and wisdom. So, for example, if you have say 50 intelligence, then of course that druid will get 25 on the magic points. I believe, if I remember right, it's the ones that's the highest you get the magic points on. Can regenerate 2 magic points per turn. That's a great thing about druids, is that exactly. You usually regenerate 1 per turn with the other classes, not the druid. Now, you're very limited on wizard and cleric spell magic to cast. Yeah, they cannot get into the real and good pure stuff. Now, next up is the alchemist. It's a wizard and thief hybrid. You can only use daggers and cloth, unfortunately. However, they're able to handle traps and void them. Not better than thieves though, but they get to handle those. Can cast wizard magic, yet is very limited. Their magic points are 50% on the intelligence. So, for example, they have 50 intelligence. In other words, they only get 25 magic points. They get that stuff cut in half. Illusionist, cleric and thief hybrid class. They could use maces and leather. That's the max. Can avoid and disarm traps. Not better than a thief, but they can actually do that. Now, I heard many people create illusionists because of that, and also able to use magic means to disarm traps too. Can cast cleric magic, yet very limited. You're not going to be able to cast the best stuff once again as a illusionist. And unfortunately, they have 50% wisdom on magic points. So, for example, you have 50 wisdom, you only get 25 as an illusionist. So let's get to the next set of hybrid classes. Now, next up is the Ranger class. They are the jack of all trades. They can use all armor, and they can use up to bow +2. They can disarm void traps, not better than a thief, but they can easily do it. Now, they could cast both cleric and wizard spells. However, they cannot cast all of those. Now, their MP is at 50% of their intelligence/wisdom. So, for instance, you have 40 wisdom. Then you really have 20 magic points on your ranger. Next up is the Lark class. They are a hybrid between a fighter and wizard. They can use all weapons. However, they're only restricted to cloth armor. Cannot deal with traps at all, so do not put them in the front of your party for that. Now, their MP cost is 50% of their intelligence. So, for example, you have 20 intelligence. That means you have 10 magic points on your Lark. So let's get to the final 2 classes, shall we? Next up is the Paladin class. They are a hybrid between a fighter and cleric. Can use bow +4. That means all weapons in the game. However, they are limited to plate iron. Yeah, that version of the plate armor. That's it for the armor department. As for traps, they cannot deal with it at all. Do not put them in the front of the party for that. MP is at 50% of their wisdom. So, for example, you have 50 wisdom. That means you really have is 25 magic points. Last but not least is the Barbarian. They're a hybrid between a fighter and thief. Can use bow +4. However, they're restricted to leather armor. They can disarm and deal with traps, yet they're not better than a thief. They cannot cast magic at all. That's it about for the classes. So I will go ahead for the next portion of this guide we'll talk about is the races in Ultima III Exodus. In Ultima III Exodus, there's a total of 5 races. Now, when you do start creating your character, here is the deal. You allocate 50 points. We'll get into that later on in this guide. Now, for now, when you do max out your stats in the game, here's the maximum amount of stats for each of the races. Now, humans all across the board gain 75 strength, dexterity, intelligence, and wisdom. Now, dwarves gain 99 strength. Yeah, they hit the hardest. 75 dexterity, 50 intelligence. Do not make them a wizard, just trust me. And 75 wisdom. Now, elves, on the other hand, have 75 strength, 99 dexterity. Great for thief type of classes. 75 intelligence, and 50 wisdom. Bad idea to make them a cleric or something like that. Now, as for fuzzies, their gain is 25 strength max. 99 dexterity, 99 intelligence, 75 wisdom. They make wonderful wizard type of classes, trust me. Last but not least are the bobbits. 75 strength, 50 dex, 75 intelligence, and 99 wisdom. Now, you can make them a cleric and paladin, for instance, but that is debatable. That's about it for the races with their max stats. Now, for the next part of this character creation guide, I'm going to go ahead and give some final advice, and here we go. Here are some final advice for character creation. Number one, when you make your first character, make sure it is a thief-like class. Better yet, make a thief. So this way you put that thief in the front of the party. Yeah, thieves are going to be very useful later on really in the front. So this way they can detect traps much more easier, for instance, in dungeons. Have a cleric and wizard type of classes in your party. In fact, here's a better deal. Go pure by making a wizard and a cleric for best magic results. In other words, you have a pure wizard, they'll be able to cast all the wizard spells. You have a pure cleric, they'll cast all the cleric spells. Your fourth slot should have a melee character and maybe make it a hybrid class. Now you can have a fighter, but yeah, they're not going to be able to use magic. Same thing with a barbarian. So fourth slot, for example, you could have a ranger, paladin, lark, or any of those hybrid classes. That's either A fighter, or B, you're a wizard, and of course a cleric. Now I made a paladin, and yeah, I got through that game well with a paladin in my number 2 slot. Now stats, you want your main stat first at 25, secondary stat 15, rest at 5. Now here's the deal about that. I'm going to go into greater detail right now. For example, if you're a thief, for instance, that stat is dexterity. That means strength will be your secondary stat. Put that at 15, rest at 5. Now, if you're a wizard or hybrid wizard, then 25 intelligence, 15 dexterity, rest at 5. Now, cleric, you just do wisdom at 25, dex at 15, and rest at 5. Now, if you have, like, for example, a paladin, I actually have 25 strength, 15 dexterity, rest at 5. Yeah, my spellcasting suffer at the start a little bit as a paladin, yet my paladin hit very hard thanks to using a bow and arrow to win the day in battle. And later on, I got that wisdom up there, and I started cast like crazy. Up to you on that. If you don't like that route for hybrids, then make sure your main stat is exactly at 20. Then, of course, 15 for dexterity, 10 for your casting class, and then the stat that is not a casting class, put it at 5. Plan ahead for what race you want as a class. This is very important. So if you're making a wizard, do not go for any of the classes with 50 intelligence. No. For example, go with a fuzzy. That's it for character creation and some final advice for it. So next part of this video guide will be controls. Here are the keyboard commands for Ultima III Exodus. Arrow keys, that's when you move around the world, and in dungeons, just simply use the arrow keys to move around. Space, advanced time, and food is consumed when used. Now please note, if you idle for a bit too long, then automatically advanced time and one piece of food is consumed. E is enter towns, castles, dungeons, etc. Very simple command to know. Transact, which is the T key, aka that means you talk to people, merchants, or even Lord British. Q saves your game, so you definitely going to be using this quite a bit. Now please note your game automatically saves when you enter a town, castle, or dungeon too. C, cast magic. Simply hit the C button, then pick one of your party members with 1 through 4. And if they can be able to cast magic, then you type in the letter. We'll get to that later on about spells. A, attack a target. Hit the A button and then go in the direction you want to attack. Really useful for ranged characters too. For example, a fire with a bow and arrow, hit A, then hit north, and then that fire with a bow and arrow will attack north. Z is stats. This will show your character stats. All you have to do is hit Z and the number that your character you want to show their stats. For example, number 2. Then our paladin stats will be shown. It'll show what's equipped and more. W is just simply wear armor. Hit the W, then select the 1 through 4 party member, and then pick the layer that your armor is. Let's go ahead and talk about more of the controls. R is ready weapon, aka equip weapon. So simply hit R, then 1 through 4. For example, we'll hit number 1 for our thief. Then hit the A for a dagger for that said thief to equip it. I is to ignite torch. Long as you have a torch, hit I, and it lights up the dungeons. Use this for dungeons only. N is to negate time. That means it stops time for a limited amount of time. A powder is used when you pull this off. P is to peer at a gem. So when you hit this key, this is like it shows a map of the world, map of the dungeon, even map inside certain locations too. U is unlock doors. So long as you have a key, hit U, and a door that is locked is now open to you. Y is yell. I'm not spoiling when you use this, but still it's an important command. O is other commands. And so when you find out other commands in the world, Ultima 3 Exodus, you hit O, then select the person who's going to use that command and type in the command, and voila. Then you'll be able to use that command. You might have to point in the direction where you want to use the command. H to hand equipment. That means you give one party member to another party member gold, food, weapons, and armor. G is to get treasure chests. Now, be careful when you hit the G key. Yeah, there will be traps and treasure chests, so watch out for that. Now, if you have a thief in your party, for instance, and their dexterity is at 99, 9 out of 10 times, you'll be able to get that chest without any problems with traps. So let's go over the next set of commands. Here are the last set of commands I'm going to go over in Ultima 3 Exodus. S is steal. Used to steal chests from behind merchants. I'm going to be honest. I'd probably say I would not do it if it's near a merchant, because 9 out of 10 times you will get jumped, even if you're a thief. Now, D is to descend, so that means it climbs down a ladder in a dungeon. K is climb, that means climb up a ladder in a dungeon, or if you're at level 1, you exit the dungeon. J is to join gold. Never, ever, ever do this. Here's the reason why. If you, for example, everybody has 9k worth of gold, then you join the gold from all the party members to party member 1. What happens is you're going to lose a lot of gold. However, that party member will have 9,999 gold. Yeah, due to programming back in the day, what happens is it gets to 999 gold. It stops there, and all that other gold is wasted. So never use the J command. B is to board a ship or a horse. Yeah, that's modes of transportation in Ultima 3 Exodus. X, exit horse or ship. M is move. This is just really reorder your party. So for example, you don't want a thief in the front, then you can reorder the party and shuffle around. F is to fire a ship's cannon. Let me go ahead and explain about this. Now, if you fire a ship's cannon and you kill a foe, you will not get experience points and you will not get treasure chests. Yeah, that's been nerfed from Ultima 2. In Ultima 2, that was a great way to get experience points and gold. Well, actually gold. Since you fire cannons from a safe distance, and that was it. This game you cannot do. No, this is just really used just to clear out enemies that annoy you. L is to look around the area. In other words, this will tell you where you're at exactly. Last but not least is V, volume. You hit V once, you turn off the volume. You hit V again, you turn on the volume. That is it for controls. We're going to go ahead and talk about UI and starting out in Ultima 3 Exodus. When you first start out in Ultima 3 Exodus, immediately get into town and equip all your weapons and armor. So that, in other words, R to ready weapons and W to wear armor. Just remember you have to do it for all 4 characters. Yes, it's annoying, but it's worth doing. Make sure everybody has their gear set up. Now, when you do start out in Ultima 3 Exodus, while I'm going over the stat screen, is you start out, everybody starts out with 150 hit points, 150 food, and 150 pieces of gold. And your stat window, what that does is it shows you all your stats of your character you're looking at, what's their current equipment they're using, any items they have, and also any excess weapons or armor they are definitely carrying. So I am definitely going ahead and equip this. So here's the deal. The screen that's right in front of you, that's your viewpoint. On your right hand side, that is the first 3 letters is your gender, race, and of course class. M is your magic points, L is your level, H is your hit points, and F finally is your food. Now on the bottom right hand corner, that is the command window. It also tells you what direction you were going, what you're equipping, and what you get to. So first thing you want to do definitely is to get some weapons and armor. But I'm going to go ahead and show you all the food shop. You want food in Ultima 3 Exodus. Reason being is simple. You don't get food, you die. I'll go in that to much greater detail. And yeah, you have to buy food for everybody one at a time. Yeah, you're going to have to be doing that a lot in Ultima 3 Exodus. So don't panic, don't be afraid. So we're going to go to the weapon and armor shop. Now, depending what your class is, you want to equip your weapon and armor. Now, I'm going to probably say is just get some weapons for now. What I'm going to do is transact, get our, for example, our thief and paladin slings. Yeah, you want your two frontline fires. One of them's a thief, one's a fire hybrid sling. Reason being is they're going to be using that to do some damage. Now, if you have a cleric in your class or any cleric casters or so, have them equip a mace unless they can use a sling. Now, your wizards, yeah, they're going to have to equip a dagger, unfortunately. There's no staffs. Now, as for armor, if you want to go ahead and equip some armor, up to you on that. And I'm going to just transact, make sure I get everything right. And yeah, I'm going to try to do it again. Okay, yes, it's a weapon shop. And yeah, always check your options too in case you want to buy something in the future, like for example, a bow for your front two line fighters and such. Now, please note, I'm going to say this, anytime you enter a weapon or armor shop, you will have to ready your weapons and armor once again. Yeah, your weapons and armor, depending on what shop you visit, get stripped. So you have to re-equip them again. It's annoying, but you know what? It just means you just want to be careful on selling your weapons and armor. So next stop is, I think I'm going to just keep everybody on cloth or not. Yeah, I would just keep everybody cloth. So if you want to give them some armor, that's fine. But I advise instead getting food. You're asking why is that? Well, we want to make sure our lifeline, we get some extra food. I'd probably say have everybody buy at least 50 food. So you have to do is transact one at a time and then talk to the grocer, for instance, and type the number of food you want. Great news. Food is cheap in this game. It's 1 piece of gold per food. It's not like Ultima 2 and Ultima 1 where food is really expensive at times. Well, 2 more expensive if your certain stats are way up there or too low. So once you're done getting your weapons and armor, then you want to do here 2 things outside the world. You could go outside the world to go into battle, or there's a secret method on how to fight. Yeah, you guessed it. It's killing the clerics in you, since there's no guards in you. I'll point that out along with my gold farming guide too. But for now, that's it on how to start out in Ultima 3 Exodus. Just remember, we have a weapons and food set up. Then go around the world and grind some experience points to at least at level 2. I'll explain more about leveling up too. So that's it for this part of the guide. The next part we're going to go ahead and talk about is food and why you should have it. Let's go ahead and talk about food. Food is your lifeline in Ultima 3. Now there's a difference between food in Ultima 1 and 2 to 3. Now in Ultima 1 and 2, food drops down to 0. Your character dies instantly. Now in 3, your food drops down to 0. You'll take 5 hit point damage per step until everybody gets some food. So be careful on that. Another thing with food is it can be taken away in dungeons. In Ultima 3 versus Ultima 1, you only lose 100 food in this game compared to 50% of your food in 1. So and it's, of course, the foe is a tile set. So for example, you step on a tile in a dungeon and you see the words gremlin takes your food. They'll steal only 100 from a random party member. So that means if a gremlin steals your food, that means you have to avoid that tile next time you go through the parts of the dungeon again. So remember, stock up on food. Now, my final advice about food is simple. In order to get through the entire game, I'll probably say 7.5k worth of food per party member will get you through the entire game without any problems. Let's go ahead and talk about the next topic. In Ultima 3 Exodus, besides finding weapons and treasure chests, you can also purchase your weapons and armor too. Now here's the deal about that. It's static. In other words, it will not be random or different except for one location, which is the hidden town. They have some very nice magical weapons and armor there. So interacting with shops is easy. Just transact and then talk to your merchant, and then of course pick which weapon armor you want to buy. You can also sell some weapons and armor there too. Now, I'm gonna give some starter advice about armor in the game. When you first start out, yeah, I'm gonna say have everybody equip your cloth still, and if you're really jonesing for money, then go ahead sell any leather and chainmail to your armor. So this way you make some nice and extra cash. That's about it really for weapons and armor. Some advice about selling armor early on. So for the next part of this video guide, I'm going to go over all the weapons and armor you can get in Ultima III Exodus. Here are the weapons for Ultima 3. I'll point out where they're sold at, except for spoiler places and such. And I'll leave out the last weapon on purpose. It'll be with the question marks. You know when you find it. First of all, hands, you start out with these. Next up is the maces, sold everywhere or found in treasure chests. Slings sold everywhere or found in treasure chests. Now, these are ranged weapons, and you definitely want to use these. Range is king in this game. Now, next up is the bow, sold everywhere or found ranged weapon, and you want to use these. Now, a personal note about bows. I used it throughout the entire game until the very last area. Now, bow 2 only sold in the hidden town, doesn't drop from chests. It's a ranged weapon. If you want to spend the extra gold, then go get yourself a nice bow +2. Next up is bow +4, sold in the hidden town. Ranged weapon, doesn't drop in treasure chests. Now, if you really want to spend the money on this bow, go ahead and do so. Certain classes can only equip it. Now, axes, this is sold everywhere and drops in treasure chests. My advice is, as soon as you get an axe via dropping treasure chests, sell it. Get some nice money from it. Now, swords, same thing with axe, sold everywhere and dropping chests. Find it in the world via chest, sell it. Two-handed sword, sold everywhere and dropping chests. Now, yeah, when you get this bad boy in a treasure chest, sell it. Now, the +2 axe, sold in hidden towns and doesn't drop in chests. Since this is a melee weapon and bows are better, avoid buying this. Here are the final set of weapons. +2 swords, sold in hidden town, doesn't drop in chests. Avoid buying this, bows are better. Gloves, sold in hidden town and doesn't drop in chests. Yeah, like the other plus weapons, yeah, don't buy it. +4 axe, sold in hidden town and doesn't drop in chests. Yeah, don't buy it. Range is king in this game. +4 sword, sold everywhere and doesn't drop in chests. Yeah, avoid buying it. Last but not least, the mysterious weapon. You know what it is. You definitely want to find it. Once you do, equip it in the final area of the game, because foes will only be able to be damaged by this weapon. That is it for weapons for Ultima 3 Exodus. I'm going to give one final advice. If your characters can equip slings and or bows, have them to do so. Yeah, they're going to help you out greatly in combat. I'll get in that greater detail later on. For the next part of this build video is the armor. Let's go over the armor in Ultima 3 Exodus. Now, bear, you start out with this. Next up is cloth, sold everywhere and drops in a chest. If I ain't extra, sell it. Leather, sold everywhere and drops in a treasure chest. Sell this too if you have any extra. Chain, sold everywhere, drops in a chest. Yeah, sell it too. Plate, this is just sold everywhere. No drops in chests at all, so you don't have to buy it. +2 chain, sold in the hidden town only, and no chest drops. +2 plate, sold in the hidden town, and no chest drops. The mysterious armor, I'm not going to list. You know when you find it. Best armor in the game. You find it, equip it ASAP. It'll help you get through the game big time. So my final advice is if you have any extra cloth, leather, and chain, sell it to a vendor. And if your character can equip a +2 chain or +2 plate and you have the gold in the hidden town, go ahead and buy it. Otherwise, the other armor is great to have, and definitely strive for the question armor. That's it about armor. Let's go ahead and talk about items. In Ultima 4 Exodus, there's a total of 4 normal items. I will not list the key items since that's spoiler land. So here we go. Torches light up dungeons for a short amount of time. Keys unlock locked doors. Gems view a map in a dungeon or overworld. Powder stops time for a short time. Please note, this is very important, does not work in the final area of the game. You definitely want to stock up on all four of these items, especially the keys and torches. And when you do find a key item, yeah, you're going to definitely hold on to that no matter what. So that's it for items. We're going to go ahead and talk about spells, the clerics and wizards, and what their layers are each. In Ultima III Exodus, the cleric spell line deals mainly with healing, assisting, and later on in the game does stuff with dungeons and of course direct damage. So I'm going to go ahead and list them in the order of the alphabet and their magic points too. And here we go. Now A is Pontori. That's an undead spell. That's what they call it. Costs 0 magic points. Wipes out all undead sometimes. So you cast this as a cleric when you start out. Some of them goes. This works early on in the game. Later on, its usefulness wears out and you'll fail more often than not. Next one's the B, the open spell. Costs 5 magic points. Safely open chests. This is a 100% trap avoidance rate for get those chests open up. Really useful. So when you're starting out in Ultima III Exodus, you want to cast this on treasure chests until your rogue characters are at high dexterity. C is heal, 10 magic points, heal hit points. You're going to be using this quite a bit. Just trust me. D is glow, 15 magic points, lights up a dungeon. Use a torch instead. It's much better than that spell. The other one is rise, 20 magic points, teleports up in a dungeon. I'm going to say it's better to explore the dungeon. Just trust me. The other one is sink. This teleports down in a dungeon. Costs 25 magic points. Again, you should explore instead of using this spell. Next one's move, 30 magic points, randomly teleport in a dungeon. Yeah, this is a good way to get you lost in a dungeon. I would advise against using it. Now, next is cure. This will heal poison status. 35 magic points it costs. Extremely useful. Once your wisdom's up there, you can be casting this more often when you're facing poisonous enemies. The next one is surface. 40 magic points it costs. Escapes a dungeon. Extremely useful after you're done with a dungeon. So let's go ahead and go to the next set of spells. Here are next set of cleric spells. J is the star spell, 45 magic points. Longer light in dungeons. If you really want to cast that, that's fine. I'm going to be blunt. Use a torch, even though it's shorter duration than this spell, but still, it's better. So this way you can use the magic points for other important things. Heal 2. This costs 50 magic points. Heals more hit points than heal 1. Now, here's the deal. I would advise against using this because the heal isn't that great, and I'll probably say is 20 to 40 magic points of heal 1. We use that a few times, heals much more better. Now the map spell cost, which is L, is 55 magic points. View map in an area, just like the gem. It's better to use gems, just trust me. Now, the next one's M is Banish. This costs 60 magic points. Instantly kills one foe. Sometimes it doesn't work. So if you want to cast this spell, go ahead and annihilate certain foes that are giving you a hard time. Next one is N is Raise. 65 magic points. Cure the dead status. If you fail to do this, your target will turn into ash. So be careful. I'm not going to say the word, but I'll say it's Destroy. 70 magic points. Instantly defeats all foes. Sometimes it doesn't work. This spell is seriously OP. 9 out of 10 times when you cast this, many foes will die. Last but not least is P, which is Recall. I call it Recall Incarnation. 75 magic points it costs. Cures the Ash status. You messed up doing the Resurrection spell, which is N. Cast this instead. Now, please note that K to P are exclusive to the Cleric class only. Other than that, that is it for the Cleric spells. We're going to go for the next set of spells, which is the Wizard spells. We are now on the Wizard spells. Most of the spells deal with offensive damage, either single targets or all the foes on the screen. Some of it will deal with dungeons and other useful factors, just a lot less than the cleric ones. So let's go over each of them right now. Repawn, this is the orc family killing spell. 0 magic points, wipes out all orc type of foes sometimes. Great to use when you're starting out in Ultima 3 Exodus. See orc type of foes, cast this spell as a wizard, and if they all wipe out, you get some experience points. Now, next one is B is Missile, 5 magic points it costs to cast. Attacks 1 foe. Cast a spell and then point in the direction you want it to hit the foe. Now, the light spell, which is C, is to cost 10 magic points, lights up a dungeon. I'm going to be honest, just use a torch. It's the same way as that. Next one is Descend, which is D, costs 15 magic points. Teleports down in a dungeon level. I'm going to be blunt, just explore the dungeon. It's much more easier in this game. Now, E is the Ascend spell, costs 20 magic points. Teleports up in a dungeon level. Again, just exploring it, it's not that bad. Next is F is Flame, costs 25 magic points, attacks 1 foe. This is more powerful than Missile, but I prefer to use Missile, so this is why I have 5 shots versus 1 when I do start on Ultima 3 Exodus. Next up is G, which is Trans. This costs 30 magic points. Here's the fun thing what it does. Teleports around the surface of Caesarea. This is okay, but I could probably say you should rather just walk around the world. It's not that hard. Next is H, which is PSI. Costs 35 magic points. Attacks 1 foe. Again, if I want to do a single target attack, I'd rather use the Missile spell. And then I is Bright. Costs 40 magic points. This casts a longer light in a dungeon. I'm going to be blunt. Just use a torch. Yeah, you might have to use 1 or 2 extra ones, but still, you're not going to waste magic points. You should probably want to save it for the tougher foes you'll face in the deeper parts of the dungeon. Let's go over to the next set of spells for the wizard. Next up is the J spell, which is Cleric. This costs 45 magic points, allowed to cast a Cleric spell with the remaining magic points. I'm going to be blunt. If I want to do that, I might as well play my Cleric. Use that Cleric to cast magic. Next up is K, which is Poison, 50 magic points. Attack all foes. This is the second spell that attacks all foes, except for it attacks all foes, not just one type of race. Now, L is Kill. Costs 55 magic points. Instantly kills 1 foe. Now, if you want to kill a very tough foe, go ahead and let this bad boy loose. Point in the right direction and that foe dies. Now, next up is M, which is Stops. Costs 60 magic points. Stops time. I'm going to be blunt. Just use the powders. It's much better that way. Next up is N, which is the PSI kill spell. Now, this costs 65 magic points. Attacks all foes at once. Now, O, which is the Rot spell. Costs 70 magic points. Drops all foes. Hit points to 1. This is extremely useful in case you want to cast this spell and then have your other party members go ahead and kill the foes. Since they'll die in 1 hit, they get the experience points. Great way for all your party to get even up on the leveling with this spell. The last one is P. This is the Death spell. Costs 75 magic points. Instantly defeats all foes on the map. This is like a 9 out of 10 success rate. Costs 75 magic points. Wipes them all out instantly. I used this quite a bit once I got my wizard stats to 99 and it had some serious fun. Now, please note that K to P spells is wizard class only. That is it for the magic of Ultima 3 Exodus. For the next part of this Don't Panic video guide, we're going to go ahead and talk about is gathering information. Let's talk about gathering information and why it is important. Now, here's the deal. In order to go ahead and figure out what you need to do, you're going to need to talk to people in various towns and, of course, castles too. Yes, some of them will give you some valuable information and also very important clues. So let's go ahead and talk to this guy. Transact and direction. He tells us round back. So we're going to go ahead and go around back this shop. Yeah, you always want to talk to people wherever you go. If it's a new location, talk to them. So if there's a thief here, we talk to this guy. He says, only with exotic arms you can win. That's a very valuable clue. Now, there's also pubs, which cost a little bit of gold. And the Oracle in Castle Bridge, which costs a lot of gold. So pubs, I'd probably say 500 pieces of gold. You talk to get every single clue. Why the Oracle is about 5k worth of gold to get all the clues there. Now, if you have the gold, take advantage of that. Otherwise, just talk to everybody. If you don't talk to everybody, you will get stuck. Let's talk about the next part of this guide. In Ultima III Exodus, the world can be a very dangerous place. And yeah, combat's not random on the map. Instead, enemies appear on it. So you see foes, go ahead and battle them. In dungeons, yeah, they just randomly appear. But for now, you get in combat by interacting with a foe on the screen. Now, there is turns. So what you need to do is, for example, if you're attacking with a person with a ranged weapon, go ahead and hit the A button and attack with it. Now, you can use magic in combat like we did with our wizard. So casting in combat is simple. Just make sure whoever's turn it is, and that's a caster. Hit C and then the correct letter. Other than that, it is the fight to death until either side wins. Now, here's the deal on tactics. You could do a line, either vertical or horizontal, or a cube. Now, a cube is 2 up front. I'd probably say your cleric and your wizard types. And the 2 in the back is your fighting types, like, for example, a paladin and a thief. So you're going to need to keep on fighting foes until you actually level up. That's pretty important to know. Now, the overworld is nice for combat, getting experience points, but there's a better place, which is you to actually grind experience points. But still, keep on fighting until at least level 2. I'm going to go ahead and talk about level 2 and why you should stay there for a while. It's time to go ahead and talk about leveling up and why you should stay at level 2 when you start out in Ultima III Exodus. For every 100 experience points you get, you'll have to go visit Lord Bridge in order to officially level up. Every time you level up, you gain 100 hit points. Now, please note, I am going to only level up my Paladin to level 2. Here's the reason being for that. This is a huge, big reason. Now, as you get more levels in the game, tougher foes will spawn. Now, here's the deal. When you start out, you do not want that at all. Instead, you actually do want is weaker foes to face. So this way, you keep on getting experience points and much more, getting gold, etc. And yeah, you can only level up to 5 for now until you do something. I'm not going to spoil that, but still, keep all your characters at level 2 so you can survive the world much more easier. If you do not keep it at 2, things will be much more tougher. Now, when you get all the proper weapons and armor that you feel you have, then go ahead and level to 5 and start looking for pirate ships. In fact, we're going to go ahead and talk about that next. When you have enough gold, proper equipment, and of course at least level 5, you're ready to get yourself a pirate ship. Starting at level 5, they'll appear somewhat more frequently. Now here's a few things about pirate ships. When you first see them appear, they'll attack you with their cannons and you gotta take it over. Now before we talk about fighting in a pirate ship, one thing, watch out for whirlpools on pirate ships. Yeah, if you are outside the pirate ship, a whirlpool touches said pirate ship gets destroyed. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about fighting of course some pirates. So let's go ahead and show that. Now once you do interact with the ship, you're fighting against pirates, cutthroats, or whatever, or thieves. You need to kill them all. Once you do kill them all, then the ship is definitely yours. So once you have the ship, then you can sail around the world. Now here's the deal about sailing. A few rules. You cannot sail at the same direction the wind. So if the wind is for example, you try to go east and it's blowing east or something like that, then you cannot go east. Now, if it's calm winds, it'll stay. Any other direction, you can move at any time. When you're on a ship and if you're not ready to, go to a certain location, avoid the whirlpools. Yeah, don't try to use them. So right now, I'm going to show you why sometimes you got to sail. So I'm trying to do is go direction. I'm trying to go east, I couldn't, and the winds changed. So a few advice before I go. Get to level 5 when you're all ready. Get yourself a pirate ship. It might be at lower levels. Go ahead and do so. Now, do not enter a pirate ship when you're grinding. That's a bad idea. Yeah, the monster rate will be lowered. If you want to kill annoying foes, go ahead and hit the F key, which is the fire key, and fire your cannons. You get 0 experience points, but you wipe them off the map. Other than that, use ships to go to places you cannot go to. And one more tip. On the land later on, when you try and look for more pirate ships, just leave treasure chests there. So this way, by the shore, you could go after the pirate ships more often. And they'll spawn more often than, of course, monsters. That's it about pirate ships. The next part of this guide we're going to go ahead and touch up on is the dungeons. Let's go over dungeons. At some point in the game, you will have to go into a dungeon. When you first enter, it is very dark. You have to hit the I key in order to, you guessed it, light it up. Bring plenty of torches. Now, the ladder, that means you go up or down, or both. Now, the thing is, your head, that's your direction where you're currently going. You can also go ahead and use a P button to appear the gems, see where you're at. Where you're flashing, that's where you are. So definitely remember, if you're ready for a dungeon, go ahead and go in. Otherwise, grind up for some gold experience points and get those stats up so you can fully annihilate dungeons. So let's talk about Moongates. At some point in Ultima III Exodus, when you're on Caesarea, you will have to use a Moongate. That is no excuse of saying, yeah, I'm not going to use a Moongate, I'll use ships. No, there are certain places in the game where you're forced to use it. So I left out the Moongate UI part in the UI part of the guide. So I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody now. The left number is where the Moongate will appear. The right number is your destination. So you have to get the combination right. Where it appears and the destination. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what the Moongate looks like. Then, of course, show you the charts of the where the Moongate's at and where it goes to. So here we go on this nice chart. Here are the charts of the Moongates, where they appear and where you go if you enter it. Now, the first one is in the northwest corner of the world, which is north of Moon Town. If it's 00, you can be stuck at the same location, which is north of Moon, by the way. Next up, 01 leads you to the Dungeon of the Snake. 02 leads you to Lockland, north part of that. Yeah, there's 2 Moongates there. Next up is the Dungeon of the Snake Island Moongate. Now, if it's 13, this will be a Moongate, leads you to west of Motar West. 14 leads you to Locklands, the south part. 15 leads you to the Isle of Fire, Exodus' castle. I try to go into it, you cannot. So let's go ahead and get to the next set of Moongates. Here are the next set of Moongates. Lockland North part, 26, which is 2 for Lockland North. 6 is your destination will be Devilguard Village, that area. 27 is the Dungeon of Time. 20 is north of Moon Village. Now, the next one is west of Motar West. 31 will lead you exactly to the Dungeon of the Snake. Very useful to get to the first level of that dungeon, at least. I'll explain more later on. 32, Lockland North part. Yeah, it'll arrive there. Now, 3-3, it'll dump you exactly at the same location, which is the west of Motar West. So let's go ahead and talk about the next set of Moongates. Next up is Lockland South. When that Moongate appears, if it's 4-4, you're going to be exactly at the same location, which is Lockland South. 4-5 will dump you off at the Isle of Fire, aka Exodus' Castle Island. 4-6 will dump you at Devilguard Village Valley. Yeah, that place. Now, Isle of Fire, aka Exodus Castle Moongate. 5-7 will dump you at the Dungeon of Time. Very useful coordinates to know. 5-0, which is north of Moon. Yeah, you go to that Moongate, that's where you'll land at. 5-1 will land you exactly at the Dungeon of the Snake. So let's go ahead and get to the last set of Moongates. Here are the final set of Moongates and their coordinates. Now 6-2, which is Devilguard, which is 6. You enter it when it's 2. Landlocked North part. Now if it's 6-3, you'll be at the west of Motar West Moongate. 6-4 will be landlocked South part. Now here's the final Moongate set, Dungeon of Time. Now 7-5 will lead you to the Isle of Fire, aka Exodus' Castle. Don't try to get in. 7-6 will lead you exactly at Devilguard. Yeah, that village in the valley that's enclosed in. 7-7, the final Moongate will just lead you right back to the Dungeon of Time. Just remember the coordinates of the left one is where it's at, and 2 is where you're going. So next part we're going to go ahead and talk about is farming gold. I am going to go ahead and show you all on how to farm some serious gold in Ultima 3 Exodus. So here's the deal. The first method, you can not only farm some good gold, you can also, get some experience points. And best part is the food's in the exact same town too. So you'll be able to cover a whole lot of ground when you start out. And the thing about the place I'm about to talk about is there are no guards there, just clerics. So you're going to need some slings, a good mace if you're a cleric, and magic to defeat these NPC clerics. So you want to do is go from west of city of Britain. Just keep on going around this way through the mountainous areas. Hit E to enter U, and that's it. Now the deal about experience points, how you gain Ultima 3 Exodus is simple. Whoever gets the killing blow gets the experience points. So if you're starting out, you sometimes want to weaken the foes with your other 3 classes, then have your cleric to get the killing blow so the cleric gets some experience points. Now anybody else who needs it attacks and gets it. Good news about you is it's just 1 cleric. Now they always drop treasure chests, so if you have a cleric in your party or someone able to cast the open spell, the cleric spell, keep on doing that constantly. Now kill all the clerics in this circle I'm about to go through, and once they're all dead, exit U, enter again, and keep up with the same farming method. This is a great way, I'd probably say is 1 to 2, maybe 3 hours if you're dedicated to that, to actually get a lot of gold and tons of food. This is also a great way to get to level 5 and gear up before doing anything else. Let's go ahead and talk about method number 2. For the second gold farming method in Ultima 3 Exodus, we're going to go ahead and visit the Dungeon of the Snake. A few things you're required to have. Number 1, make sure you have plenty of torches. You're going to need a lot of them. Number 2, have a ship, or better yet, use the Moongates to get to the Dungeon of the Snake. Same as before, ignite your torch from this direction. Go exactly like I'm going. Head east through the hidden wall. Go through one of the doors. In between the doors, go through this hidden wall, and treasure room number 1 is there. So here's the deal. There are a total of 3 treasure rooms we're going to definitely tap like crazy. Now there's about 6 of them or so per treasure room. 18. And average amount of gold you could get is either 8k to 1.1k. Plus some weapons too, and armor too. Now if you are doing this before your rogue, for example, is it maxed out in their dexterity? Great idea to have a cleric or a cleric-like class to cast the open spell. This way it's a 100% success rate against traps. So once you're done with the treasure room, exit that room same way you came. Head south, go through this corridor east, keep on going south, then west, south again, east, and then head south through the hidden door. Now move 1 step west. If you move another step, gremlins will steal your food. Head south through the hidden door and collect 6 more treasure chests. Now, like I said before, I'm a cleric at the time, and I just need to go ahead and safely open the chests up. I'm going to probably say if you do this probably 2 to 3 hours, maybe more, maybe less, you're going to get tons of gold. Now, once you get tons of gold, that is 9k exactly. If you're going to the area where you get your stats up, well, guess what? You could go ahead and hit the H key, hand that 9k gold to another party member, and just keep on repeating the process until everybody gets that amount of gold. This was a great way for me to get my money for stats up before going to a certain location. Okay, we're done. Turn left, head west, then head 1 step, let's see here, south. Don't head north. Another gremlin will get you. Just keep on heading west. Now, here's the deal about the Dungeon of Snake level 1. You'll be facing orcs and skeletons. Now, if you're playing a cleric class, cast CA, and it'll sometimes annihilate those skeletons. Unfortunately, at the time, my characters are way too high, so I'll fail more often than not. Now, if they're orc-like enemies, then have your cleric, for instance, fight, and then have your wizard start casting the A spell. And I'm just trying to get my cleric catch up on some leveling too, so this way he's not far behind. So we're going to go ahead and finish this up and then head to the final corridor. Yep, that's right. The last one. So let me go ahead and do that. And yeah, at times, sometimes there's no enemies in the dungeon. Other times, you're going to face a lot of them. Let me go ahead and try to regenerate my magic to 5 and cast the open spell. Yeah, I'm going to say is this one average time 5 to 10 minutes. A lot less if you have the G key and high dexterity rogues. So keep on following the direction I'm going. The corridor, there's 2 doors, go through that. And there's your final treasure room. That's the hidden one. Now this dungeon just almost looped around, so go ahead and collect what's inside. If you need to, use the space bar, so this way you get those magic points back. I'm going to try to get Peter's magic points back before go ahead and open up some chests. So let's go ahead and do that. And voila, there we go. We're doing it, and we're grabbing them all. And we're almost done. This is the last set. And we'll go through the secret wall, which we came, go through a door, go between that, go through it, and you just arrive at the start of the dungeon. And that is it. Exit the dungeon, enter again. The treasure chest should appear. Follow the exact same route. Keep on doing it until you have enough gold. We'll go ahead and talk about the Make It Gold Part 3, which I felt is the very best method in the entire game. Here's a few requirements for this final method, Death Gulch. Number 1, you're going to need a ship, obviously. Number 2, you're going to need a certain command. You can learn it here too. Number 3, you're going to need 200 pieces of gold. And number 4, this is important, you're going to need something to get you through a force field. I'm not going to say what it is, but you know when you have that. This is kind of like late game. And another requirement is you're going to need a rogue with high dexterity. If you have an elven rogue, I should say thief, then you'll be able to have 99, of course, dexterity and get through things. Now, first of all, we're going to go south of the gargoyle, I think it is, or a demon. Now, this guy you could talk to, you're going to learn the command. Transact, he says, bribe me to enter. So from the demon, or where is it, Wing of Hell, just go through the forest. Keep on going through this method. There is no guards yet. And once you're out of this forest mountain, you're just in the forest. Exactly go north, past the guards, and yet you're going to need some keys too. I forgot to mention that. I would probably say is for keys, bring over 50 keys too. And yeah, just look at what I'm looking at. I'm just making sure I have the keys. Just go through the Death Gulch sign. Hit U to unlock the door. And the direction there. Yeah, there you go. Just follow the mountainous path until there's an opening into another forest. Yeah, we'll just keep on going this direction. Go there. There should be a guard there. The one that says bribe me. You're going to hit the O command 1, whoever has the most gold, type the word bribe and down the direction. That guy will vanish. After that, go through the direction I'm going through. Bribe the guard again, number 2. And there you go. After that, you shall arrive in a treasure room. Hit the G key if you're a thief, for example, is at least high dex. If it's 99, you made an elven thief. Congratulations, you're going to easily get through that. You're going to evade most of the traps. If not, have a cleric on standby to heal your butt. So once you're done with this room, the next step is going to be vital. We're going to skip a row of treasure chests on purpose. Now hit the G key, get this line, avoid the north line, otherwise guards will be after you. Go south, grab this line, and of course this guy is watching you, but he doesn't care because you're not robbing the other ones. After you're done with that, go back from which you came from once you're done, and that should be it. So here's the deal about the money it makes. You can make from exactly 1.5k to over 2.5 to 3k. If you get real lucky on drops, you could even make more. This will cut down your time in getting some more money for a second round trip to a certain area, which I'm not going to spoil. That area is where you get your stats up. So go back where you came from through the Death Gulch sign. Go south of the forest until there's a forest/mountain clearing open. And head back towards the entrance of the town. And you should definitely arrive. So once you're done with that, exit the town, enter again, repeat this method. And that is how you farm gold number 3, which is the best method in Ultima 3 Exodus. So let's go ahead and talk about the stat gaining shrines next briefly. At some point in the game, you'll have to go to another location, First, you're going to need exactly 9k worth of gold each on your first trip. And then you're going to need exactly 20 keys or so. Bring a lot of them. I'll probably say 10 at least, 20 the most. Number 2, you're going to need a ship. And number 3, you're going to look for a whirlpool. Once you're there, you arrive at a new location. Those shrines, when you visit them, it's 100 gold pieces per 1 stat point increase. Do the math on how much stats you need to increase. Just follow my hints I just tell you, and that's how you increase your stats in Ultima 3 Exodus. Here are some final advice before I end this video guide. Number 1, when you create your party members, make sure you have a cleric, wizard, at least a thief or thief-like character, and one of the frontline fighters, like for example, a fighter, barbarian, ranger, or even a paladin too. Now, when you go explore to get some experience points, best place is you. If not, kill some orcs, use the wizard's A spell to wipe most of them out. If it's undead, use the cleric's A spell to wipe most of them out. Now, once your gold and, of course, equipment and food situation sell, then go out there and explore the world. This game is a lot of fun, so just go ahead and enjoy it, talk to NPCs, and more. Well, everyone, this is it for my Don't Panic Ultima 3 Exodus new player video guide. This is Lord Fenton signing off. Thank you for watching, and have a great day or night, and do please stay safe. Please subscribe to my channel for more classic and modern gaming content just like this. If you like what you see, then pick my suggestion on the upper left hand corner or YouTube's suggestion on the bottom left hand corner. Have a great day or night, and do please stay safe.